Sounds like schools are damned if they do, damned if they don't.
Yeah, this is an odd one. Gillian Keegan and Kemi Badenoch are involved in this. Schools in England face quote-unquote legal risks if they follow the new transgender guidance, and that's the schools people who are saying you can't do certain things to trans people that you used to do. You got to tell your parents the parents stuff. You can't be calling them names.
Yeah, socially transitioning them automatically.
You can't do it. But the schools themselves are saying we are afraid to follow this guidance because it might be illegal under the Equalities Act. So the essence of this story is that the schools themselves fear following the government. They can't trust the government. And that's very scary. The government is telling them, whatever it is, the state.
The guidance, yeah.
The guidance. The government is saying, don't do this. And the schools are going, we can't believe that this means anything, right?
Which is what we've seen with the police following things like the hate speech laws and whatnot. Paul, I think there are two stories here. Would you agree with that? Because there's one story about what Lewis is talking about, and there's also the story of the leak from the government's own lawyers to the school week that is now coming out in The Guardian.
Convenient leak.
Yes.
And you
just happened to be The Guardian.
It happens to be The Guardian. It happens to be very liberal, left-leaning civil servants, lawyers within the government that are leaking these things. And it's not ridiculous to say that. That's exactly what happens. And the reason it happens is they're trying to expose the government's policy and weaken it at every turn. Now, the problem I have is that the reason the police and teachers are able to not pay heed to any of the government advice is because they will lean back on the laws, and the laws protect them in many cases. So, for instance, the Equalities Act probably would protect a teacher if that teacher promised to lie to a parent to protect the child, which to me is a massive breach.
I don't know if that's necessary.
Well, because that's exactly what would happen. What I'm saying is, if the child said, "Please don't tell my mum, but I want to be referred to as this," and the teacher then said, "OK, no problem," they could probably rely on the Equalities Act to back them up. Now, I don't know if they couldn't, but they would feel emboldened by it, and I think that's the biggest problem
here.
Well,
I think the lawyers, the problem is that they're using the stuff that was leaked was actually a partial assessment, and when they had the full lawyer advice, actually, they wouldn't get away with it. But the fact they leaked only this tiny part of it is what's muddying the water, which serves their cases.